Welcome to We Love Deck Builders, the podcast dedicated to empowering deck industry pros to construct a thriving business. Join your host, April Edwards, founder of Deck Builder Marketers, as she brings you a cheat sheet of industry secrets and strategies that promise to boost your deck building business. Whether you're a battle-tested pro or just starting your entrepreneurial journey, this podcast is your arsenal for expert insights and actionable advice. So tune in and let's carve a path to business growth, one insight at a time.
Hey, welcome back to We Love Deck Builders, the podcast where decking professionals come to sharpen their skills and grow their business. I'm your host, April Edwards, CEO and growth strategist at Deck Builder Marketers, and I'm dedicated to helping you craft the business you deserve. Today's guest is Jeff Mudd. He's an influential voice in the decking industry and a host of his own podcast, the Trades Podcast. So we've got a podcast within a podcast today. He has a rich background in home improvement and deep ties to NADRA. Jeff is here to discuss deck building intricacies and solutions to the labor shortage, along with some other juicy gems. So Jeff, we're really thrilled to have you on board. So I always like to start and just ask, learn a little bit more about you for any of the listeners that may have not met you before. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in the industry?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on, April. It's a pleasure to always to talk about the decking industry and the construction trades. I started out in my teens as basically a handyman laborer, and by the time I was 30, I was working for a termite company doing termite damage repairs. And here in California, when you sell a piece of real estate, you have a termite inspection, and that identifies usually a lot of damage on decks. So that sparked my interest in the deck building industry, in my very early 30s. And I think I went to the first Deck Expo probably 2005, and met Michael and Margie Beaudry of NADRA. So I think I've joined shortly after that. But jumping back a little bit, in 9/11, still working for the termite company. It was a termite inspector, doing well, and started 9/11 hit. What do I do with my life? I've got 2 kids. Am I doing the right thing? We all had questions like that, I'm sure, of some sort or another at the time. So basically gave notice and started my own home improvement company in 2002. So, and I just sold that home improvement company at the end of 2003. So that's kind of the short version of the career in the home improvement.
2023?
Yeah, 2023.
Okay, there we go.
Just sold. So
awesome.
So that's kind of the short version of the all the home improvement, maintenance, termite inspections, lots of wood repairs, things I've done. I've had my hands very dirty, still have lots of my own new tools to do it. So I've seen lots of different aspects of how the decking industry worked. So when I joined NADRA, one of the things that I really liked about NADRA was the safety aspect. And I took it upon myself to keep going, go to a lot of the expos and learn more about how decks should be built, as opposed to just rebuilding them back the same way to pass the escrow inspection. And as we developed through that, my company became known as a good quality carpentry company here in San Diego. And we grew from there. So I guess a funny story for maybe some of your guests was at one of the expos, Simpson Strong-Tie built 2 decks in the middle of the showroom floor. One was very nice, all the right brackets, everything laid out, proper connections. And then right next to it, they built one that was kind of not so good. And they would pull the pins so that the ledger board would disconnect from the structure and the deck would fall and collapse. So I thought that was pretty neat. We took some videos of it, actually made a nice professional one. of that happening to market my business. And then at a point, I had a big flatbed trailer. I built even a larger size deck doing the same thing, and gave several speeches and demonstrations of a deck. This is how it should work. This is the type of bracketings that you would use. Had a PA system, and we'd go to a couple of the lumber yards and put on this demonstration to other contractors, and then have the deck collapse in front of everybody. Ryan with Simpson, Ryan Swinson, Simpson Strong Tie representative here in San Diego, did one of the speeches with me. It was a good time. So had a lot of different experiences in the decking industry. So
Yeah. And for some of our listeners, you'd be surprised how many deck builders I talk to that don't know about Nadra. Can you just kind of give your take on, the value that they bring to the industry?
absolutely. So one, going to the deck expos, there's lots of vendors, so it exposes you to new products that are out there, not just deck boards, but railings, lighting, bracketing. But there's also software, business management skills, financing vendors. So there's all kinds of things at the Deck Expo that will help you run a better business. And lots of the classes were built around business skills also that Nadra helped coordinate at the Deck Expo. So I've been lucky enough to go to most of the Deck Expos, get a little vacation traveling across country, and bring back those skills or bring employees to the expos and be members of Nadra. And specifically out of Nadra, they have the deck inspection class. So I've had multiple salespeople take the deck inspection class and become certified in that. They would use those skills and inspection techniques to complement the termite inspection on a lot of rebuilds. So that helped educate homeowners, because Nadra educated us as builders or repair people. So that, the business skills, and the camaraderie that's in Nadra is, I mean, I've been part of other organizations, and Nadra is by far a very close-knit set of quality builders that are always gracious to be able to help out with information and tips and things like that. So I've really benefited from my years of Nadra membership.
Yeah,
And
very
we
well
just,
said.
Nadra is North American Deck and Railing Association, if nobody knows.
Yep. And we got to see you walk on stage this year down in Clearwater, right?
Yes, that was very exciting.
Tell the audience. Yeah.
I got a certificate for being a member for 15 years. I think it's closer to 17, but they were doing it in chunks. And that really was in itself pretty neat. I mean, I've been married a little bit longer, and I've had the same cell phone number a little bit longer, but that is by far, the longest membership and commitment to an organization I've ever had. So it was really cool to do that. And one of the other things why we were in Clearwater, Florida, was the award ceremony. I've been lucky enough to be a judge looking at all the different decks that have been built for the last couple of years. And that is quite an experience. I mean, if you ever had a dream of building your own deck and then being part of that process, seeing hundreds of quality, elaborate, well-built decks done all over this country is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring. I really hope the creative juices are flowing when, the builders leave that event, because it's amazing. I mean, the experiences they're able to build. I just love it. It's, I went to art school. I'm a creative myself, and I love to see the experiences that they build and the way they're able to improve people's lives and bring people together. It's so amazing.
Absolutely.
And I love, it's been neat to see, how technology has kind of become a part of, the projects and stuff too, with like smart pergolas and, all listen, I just learned about what is it called? Like glass flooring. I don't think I'm saying it correctly. Do you know what I'm referring to? So it's almost like a sunlight, like a skylight on a multi-level deck, where there's a glass floor, and then if there's a room underneath, you can, you know, you
It lets
basically
the
have a
light
skylight.
through.
And
And,
you're good.
yeah,
Yeah.
not much privacy, but
No, but
um,
I thought it was pretty cool. All
yeah,
kinds of new advances is the, I guess what I'm trying to say.
absolutely. Technology is uh, running rapid right now in multiple areas of our lives.
Hmm. For sure. Well, so again, podcast within a podcast, we're really interested to learn more about the Trades podcast and what you're up to over there, and kind of how, why did you get started with that?
Well, great question. So as I was running my home improvement company, I was frustrated, like many of us are still, if not more, about not being able to find help, let alone quality help. And it was more of I knew there was a problem. I can't fix the problem. So I can either complain about it or I can do my little part. And that's really where the idea of talking about it came up, and podcasting seemed like a very easy entry for me.
Hmm.
I have a co-host, Danny Torres. He's a DJ. He's half my age, and we were in a professional networking group together. And he just seemed like a right fit. I pitched it to him, and he's been on board ever since. So, well over 2 years now, over 100 something episodes. And
Hmm.
we started off knowing we don't know what we're doing, and we've got a lot to learn. So, hopefully, we're a little better at it now. Got a lot of listeners, and we've grown from when we started. And we both are having fun. Danny's gone to the Deck Expo with me a couple times in Vegas. Um, and we're looking forward to being in Houston, Texas, coming up the end of this year. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad it's back there. I can use a break from Vegas.
yeah, absolutely. Vegas is
So
great,
yeah,
but
I love hearing the evolution of growth. And I think that a lot of us, if you are in a growth mindset, you should be vulnerable and modest about not knowing what you're doing, because that's how you're able to like soak it all up and learn as much as you can and grow. So after 100 episodes, wow, you've talked to so many people. Is there, I mean, I know that you talk a lot about labor shortages. Do you want to just kind of tell our audience a little bit about that and some conversations you've had, any takeaways that could be helpful for their own businesses?
um, well, two different things. And yes, so labor shortage really is multiple reasons happening all in the same time frame. Baby boomers are retiring. Baby boomers haven't had as many babies as it takes to replace the labor force. So I think it takes 2.1, and we're currently in the U.S. about 1.7. And then for the last 20 years or so, what has everybody had? A cell phone and technology and computers. And that's created hundreds of new opportunities for young adults, um, as opposed to the traditional go to college. There's so many other opportunities that the construction industry is competing against. And we are not very good marketers. So those, I think, are the two big things. A lot of baby boomers are retiring, and as they pass, there's a huge wealth transfer that's happening to young adults. So that's creating other opportunities and things for young adults to get into. So that's kind of the short why. What you do about it, um, I talk about in the podcast, and what we try to do is interview business owners, what their culture is like, what the opportunity in that particular industry. And we don't just talk decks, but I do like the decking industry. So we went to a plumbing expo a few weeks back that one of the best things was I'm sitting there and a mother comes walking around with her high school son. Like, what do I want to do is his big question. So I got to talk to him for, a short time, and it was really rewarding to see, intelligence, ambition, and inquisitiveness about what his future could be, not just deciding one thing or other. He's out checking, looking at different possibilities. So that was really neat to see. Out of all the hundreds of people that were plumbers walking by and talking about their career in the plumbing industry. So
like pre-life optimization.
absolutely,
Trying to figure it, yeah. Trying to figure out how to optimize your life ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, we definitely need people that go to college that are going to be scientists and AI computer people and medical professions and all that kind of stuff. We need that as a country, but we also need people that are going to build our buildings and bridges and fix things that break and upgrade our homes and all that too. It takes a balance of people. So I'm promoting what I know.
Yeah. So what tips do you have with the labor shortage?
Well, I think you can always start with ABR. Always be recruiting. Even if you don't have
preach it.
even if you don't have an opening right now, if your culture is open to bringing in somebody that you can teach that has good soft skills as opposed to learned skills, that's going to help you. If you use your marketing dollars while you're advertising to get more jobs, if you talk about the opportunities that you only hire the best people, you treat your people well. Those are some of the basics of that. I've got a big list if you want, though, April.
Yeah, sounds like we need to. Yeah.
You want me to go down the list?
Sounds like we need to create a guide for everybody.
I would be happy to do that. Yeah. A lot of things that we've talked about in the podcast with different employers is if you hire somebody or somebody's interested in working for you, what's their career like? Are they just going to be somebody that's, there for a couple of years, or do they have a career path? What will they learn? Where will they be at in 2 years? Where will they be at 4? How do I progress as an employee in your company? So having a career path or a skills ladder or both, will really help having a conversation with a potential employee. If you're a smaller company and you do 2 or 3 interviews a year, your interviewing skills will probably show to that prospective employee. So practicing those or getting help, learning how to do a good quality interview, being prepared for that. It's not just use the employer and have openings and you got a bunch of people wanting to come to you right now. You're getting ghosted more than you have people showing up. So, look at it as you're marketing to the labor force now. So be prepared, be ready to engage, be ready to sell your business and the opportunity of your business to that prospective employee.
Yeah. And know what your vision is, right? So that they can buy into the vision as well.
Absolutely. Really good point. If you are running a business and your goal is just to make a living and you haven't thought the process through of where the company's going, what's your exit plan, what's the growth potential to your management team, what's the growth potential to the people that work there, if you can't articulate that to everybody in the company, and a new employee is going to certainly see that also. So they're taking a gamble. And so if you're wanting to eliminate part of the gambling, the chance taking, be able to articulate that, have a printout or, some graphics or I don't know. There's different ways of doing it, but at least you need to be able to talk about it to the potential person you're interviewing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We do several things here. I mean, I have a whole a process that I'm constantly refining for recruitment. And some tips on my end would be um, throw in throw in some sort of a curveball in the application process where they have to do something that if they didn't thoroughly look through the application, you would know. So, have them email you back and put like something silly in the subject line, little things like that to see if they pay attention to details, and can follow
Yeah, yeah,
instructions.
yeah, absolutely. In your business, details, being able to
hmm
communicate a lot more details to your
hmm
clients, or follow the instructions that you need to. Having somebody that can read follow directions.
hmm
That's a great way of
hmm
testing it.
hmm Yeah, and then really understand what your ideal candidate is, and map down those qualities, just like a persona profile. Do they need to have a license? Like you should be asking that in your application.
Yeah,
Things
absolutely.
like that are pretty important.
Yeah,
So
I
we
mean,
also have we're digital, so we always have people it's a piece of software called Video Ask. And so we just ask them a couple of questions about like why they're, want to work with us. And it gives us a sense of what they're like and if they're passionate and really, want it. And get it is an EOS thing. Want it, get it, have the capacity for it. Um,
absolutely.
and so, yeah, we found that to be pretty helpful as well. It
Yeah.
sounds like you and I should do a webinar. We should do a webinar and like outline all of this. That'd be
Yeah,
really helpful.
I've learned from all the mistakes I've made in the past.
Yeah,
Maybe not all of them.
right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a deck builder out there and you're a family organization, you've got 2 or 3 people, you're going to have a completely different business model than
Mhm,
somebody that's running 75 or 100 employees and knocking out 2,000 decks a year.
mhm,
Completely different business model, completely different type of culture, uh, and completely different opportunities within your own organization. So knowing where you're at and where you want to be, I think, is really key to be able to come back and find the right person for your company.
mhm. Yep, yep. Now, from a marketing perspective, of course, I've got to throw in my juicy nuggets. When we build our clients' websites, we always have a careers page on the site with the general application. And it's got a nice autoresponder, to kind of give them what I call the warm and fuzzies is one of our core values, and a text message too, so that they can engage. And I mean, I do certain things with my application process where I ask them to follow me on LinkedIn, things like that. Of course, that's not going to apply for deck builders, but the idea is that they have to take the extra step, and then I could vet the candidates better based off of whether or not they followed those instructions and really showed me that they want this, and that they're not just out there throwing applications out everywhere and seeing what, hits.
So that's a fabulous idea and protocol to have in there, April. And most deck builders, in my opinion, should have a LinkedIn profile. Who's
Mhm,
spending, $20,000, $100,000, $200,000 on a deck at that level and doesn't have a LinkedIn account? I'm not going to
mhm,
go research my deck builder on Facebook.
mhm.
I'm
Yep,
going to look
yep,
look at his professional profile on LinkedIn. That's, I mean,
mhm,
my go-to thing. And I,
mhm,
I think a lot of the deck builders customers are at that level also. So
mhm. And I love that you brought this up because I just get to reinforce it a little bit more. But really leveraging your ongoing marketing efforts to always promote your culture is so 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 important, because always be recruiting. And so you want to get people excited to not only want to have you build them their outdoor living space, but you want to get people excited to want to work with you too. You want just as many people lining up at the door that already know, like, and trust you and want to work with you. And so a great way to do that is to really show how what your culture is, how you do things different. Do you guys have like, regular lunches? Are you celebrating people's birthdays? Like these are really small things that you can do on your social media and things like that that just help paint that picture for potential candidates. And then we even have video testimonials on our
mhm.
career page of the employees. And then definitely have your core values. It's so important. And that's one thing that we ask, our candidates to do is, make sure you check out our core values and, because it's important that we find the right people that are going to, fit our culture.
Absolutely. I mean, and just look at it again from the customer's point of view. I mean, that's why you're spending marketing dollars, is to get more customers. So from the customer's point of view, if you have a well-run business, everybody that works there, is happy. There's a good culture that they can see on different platforms. They can see the education that you put into the employees, that they're always learning. And it's not just deck building skills or the new product skills, which you can definitely and should be highlighting. But what else helps an employee? You show you care about them. You bring in the financial advisor once a quarter or twice a year or something to give financial advice to somebody that's in their early 20s. If you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get to, save up enough money and you can buy a house, or you can plan for your retirement on top of the, retirement plan that we have at our company. Your customers can see that as a whole part of your culture that adds to the value of you as a deck builder, that you care, you're responsible, you're not taking advantage of people. You've got the better quality people showing up to work on their house, their project. So it's a win-win when you do all these different things that bring the whole package together.
And it's so simple too. And I think it's overlooked because it doesn't seem needed to have your story on your website. But it's those little things that make such a difference, and instill in trust in, employees, customers, all of that. And at the end of the day, people are buying from people. So they want to feel comfortable. And especially, a local business. I mean, I would much rather give my money to a vet or, like a family run business. And I'm not going to know that about you if you're not telling me on your website and stuff. So
I
important.
think we're on the same page, April. Let's find something to argue.
Well, I've got a fun story to share, and I hope that my client doesn't mind, but it almost kind of makes me tear up, and I think that it did him too. So Pat O'Keefe, from O'Keefe Built in Colorado, they sent just the cutest Christmas card, and it was a picture. I'm looking at it right now. It's a picture of all of them with ugly sweaters on and stuff. And
Okay.
and so I received the card and I was like, oh, it's just so cute, and I just said thank you so much, and I shared it with my team so they could see. And that my old account strategist Cassandra said, see, I always told Pat that he built a family, not a team. And I mean, how powerful is that? And as a business owner, that is just so nice to hear, because we spend so much time together that it has to be more than just making money. We have to build lifelong friendships and a family, just like Pat O'Keefe did. And I'm going to tell you, in everything that they do, the way that they outline expectations on their site, their sales process reinforces what I just said. And people can see that. And it's a subconscious decision that people make, as long as you're conscious about it and trying to, promote it in some way, shape, or form in your process or your content or website or whatnot.
Yeah,
so I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Absolutely. It's those little stories that we can relate to as people help build the reputation for your company.
Yeah. Yeah. So the takeaway is build a family, not a team. And
Absolutely.
and hire slow, fire fast. You need to make sure you have the right people, because it could be really toxic if you don't. So really take the time to make sure that they are the ideal fit and that they share your vision. Chris Breen, he, from Legacy Academy, and I've probably said this multiple times on the podcast, but I just think it's so brilliant. He wants to have a vision for his business that is so big that his team members' goals and ambitions fit under that. And I just think that's so beautiful. It's like, why would you not want to work for somebody like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I know Chris and Amy, and they're great people, and they've got the drive and the talent that they're going to build something great in the decking industry. And I wish I was a little younger to go through some of the programs he's got going right now. But
Yeah.
I guess to your point, something I guess say I'm going to disagree with the old saying that you just brought up, though, April.
Okay.
Hire slow and fire fast. Today's market for the applicants out there, we don't have that luxury of multiple. You got to come in 3 times. I'm going to interview you. Then the field supervisor is going to talk to you, and then you get to talk to the CEO on the 3rd trip. And so we don't get that luxury anymore with applicants coming in. So you have to, in my opinion, streamline that a lot faster. Still get all the same things in there. Spend 15 minutes going over, the top points about the company, almost make it a sales pitch, test them on a few things, bring somebody else in to sit down, introduce them, walk them around the office or the shop. You need to do it much quicker now as an employer. We don't have that luxury. So you have to really refine that process because you have to do it faster now. But if they don't work out, don't drag it along either.
Yeah, for sure.
Get that toxic employee out of your company.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It's very hard. Well, I think even just spending a little bit of time to, not just ask the generic interview questions, but, how have you helped? Like, what was a challenge you experienced with something specific? Or how did you help, grow the business, or just something very, very specific to where you can see, how devoted they would be, I think is, pretty important. Do you have anything to
Absolutely.
add to that?
Yeah. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made at work, and how did you handle that?
Yeah, for sure.
So
It's good.
it
We
puts
do,
people back in the field a little bit.
I mean, our business is different. And so we do what are called Colby assessments, and it helps to figure out kind of what their working style is. So a lot of entrepreneurs like myself, we have a high quick start, which means we got a ton of ideas, but our follow through is terrible. So that's why you need a good operations manager. But so we do that to really gauge, how well they would be, and depending on the position, we're going to be looking for different scores and weight within those. We do DISC personality tests to just see what people's personalities are like and how we can accommodate their communication style and work better together. And then we do test projects. So everything can look amazing on paper. I'll tell you, I mean, I'm a designer. I'm a super picky designer. I've recruited different designers in the past, and you would think it would be really easy to just look at their portfolios and see their amazing work, but you never even know in that case until you see what they do. So that's been really helpful to make sure that people aren't bloating things and actually are able to follow through with how they're presenting themselves and selling themselves.
Absolutely. And your business, you're results driven, I believe. And how you get there is a different process than building a deck, but those results you need to be able to clarify and track. So how the person got there makes a difference.
So we didn't talk about this before, but I'm really interested to know if you have any thoughts or recommendations to try and recruit, some of these kiddos that are just getting out of high school and trying to figure out how to optimize their life.
Yeah. Well, I think us as an industry needs to start at the schools at a much younger age with building birdhouses. I mean, shop classes out of junior high and high school now for most people. So exposing the kids to different things at younger ages, I think, is a start. As contractor in general, there's not a lot of ways of doing that other than putting in the effort to find those job fairs, be a guest speaker, spend a little bit of money for your tabletop and get out there and promote your company. I've seen a few fairs here in San Diego that I've got to go to, and it seems like there's a wide variety of companies out there, from the big Hawthorne truck company, construction trucks and stuff, to different electricians and plumbers that are trying to promote their businesses. So if you're the little guy, don't be afraid to get out there and promote your company and the opportunities. The high schools, I think, are turning the corner in the sense of they're allowing a lot more people to come out there and speak to the kids, expose them to the different industries that are out there. And it's not just construction. I mean, one of the last job fairs I went to, it had several large construction companies, but it also had the police and the sheriff were there, and the border patrol was there, and the veterinarian was there, and the medical offices were there. So there's all kinds of different career paths being exposed to the kids. So you as a deck builder, take the time to find some of those opportunities and go out and do it once in a while.
Yeah.
You might not find an employee that time, but you're certainly planting the seeds in different people and other counterparts in the hiring world that you are available to hire people. So sometimes you got to give before you get.
That's right. And I think that as you evolve in your career and just your life in general, I would hope that we all get to a point where we want to give back, and that's such a great way of doing it and helping the industry too. And, just putting some time in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if there's a training center that's, in your city, go volunteer to give that half-hour speech to talk about the industry in general. You never know. You might get lucky with a graduating high school student coming out and wanting to go work for you, but you're planting the seeds in lots of kids at the construction industry, maybe not your particular deck building company, is an option for them, and they don't have to go to college.
I think it's so great as a business owner to have the opportunity to help build somebody's life. I mean, that's pretty amazing,
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes they're going to look at you all funny and not give a lot of input. I mean, I've done a couple where I've stood up and all the kids have been in a circle, and I start off, this is cell phone, the greatest tool in the world, but it's not part of your requirement to have to do your work at a job site. Leave it in the car. Your girlfriend will wait until lunchtime or the end of the day to respond back, and that always gets a giggle out of the kids and the instructors like that too. But just talk about your career path and the opportunities of being a manager, a business owner. I mean, the light's going to go off in the kids, and you're never going to see it. They're going to go home. It's going to happen later, but you got to get out there and make the effort first.
That's what parenting feels like for me right now. I'm like, hopefully this will pay off, and everything that I'm saying, they will remember, and it will be applied at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it takes a little longer than you thought, but it usually happens.
Yeah. Well, I always like to ask a couple of questions. What do you, since you've talked to so many businesses, and obviously you've been in this field for a long time, do you have any thoughts or forecasts for the industry this year?
I don't know about this year, but I'm going to give a shout out to Philip Purdy. He's a deck builder in Colorado Springs. Went up and did an interview on one of his projects with Pikes Peak in the background. So great opportunity to interview a nice professional deck builder. And we went to lunch afterwards, and he got me started on robotics and AI. So I am doing a lot of research and following a lot of different people or companies that robotics is the way of the future. Just watched one last night where a robot was painting.
Yeah.
Same arm movements as your arm up and down the wall, then a second coat crossways. people will be replaced by robots. How long it'll take and how far across the scale. So as an example, if you have a high rise being built, there's robots kind of the size of the vacuum cleaner in our house that are marking out the concrete floors and where the stud framing is supposed to go. They're doing it perfectly and faster than a guy with a tape measure and a grease pencil or chalk that would build the floors, the stud floors, walls inside the high rises. You're not going to take that guy and send him over to do a room, or that robot to send him over to do a room addition on a plywood floor. It's not cost effective. Maybe not so much for the small robot, but for the technology that's takes to run that, blueprints, breaking it down to the movements of the robot. But the technology that we are experiencing right now, drones are pressure washing sides of buildings. They're doing video and picture inspection on high-rise welds that are out there. There's just example after example of companies that are adopting robotic technology that you can look at it as taking away a job, or it's supplementing the lack of workforce that we have, so that companies are working more efficiently and cost effectively and safer. I mean, what's it take for a guy to go up 50 stories on a high rise to inspect the building? Long time, lots of safety procedures. It doesn't eliminate all the safety hazards. When a robot, you might be out a chunk of money because the robot malfunctioned and fell, but it's not somebody's life. So having a younger workforce coming in to be able to intuitively be able to operate a robot to do a job, because they've had a cell phone in their hands since they were one, or a tablet, I think is one of the changes that we will see quite rapidly over the next decade.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say, yes, I agree. And I think that we're going to have pilots. Roles are going to be pilots controlling these machines. But I do want to give one. I do want to give one piece of advice. I mean, I leverage ChatGPT for so much. I have it help me come up with math formulas. I recently have started using it to help flush out our SOPs. So I know that a lot of builders are just, it's hard once you get to that spot where, like, okay, I need to let go of the vine and I want to grow. But man, is it a pain in the ass to train people, and that fear of like, oh, how am I going to find somebody that could do it as good as me? Well, if you document your procedures, it makes it a lot easier. And then you constantly refine those as you go. So leveraging ChatGPT to speed up that process for you, could really help. And that's just such a small way to leverage technology to really indirectly grow your business.
Absolutely. I'll be honest. I've had a series of interviews at a trade school, and it got into some of the trades that I didn't know a whole lot about, automotive, HVAC. So I went to ChatGPT and give me 80 questions I can ask the instructor. And then I printed them all out and went through them hand by hand. I was like, oh, that's a great question. I never would have thought of that without the help of ChatGPT. So it made for great interviews because I had some good quality questions. So just a simple thing there. And
use it to figure out interview questions for your candidates too,
Absolutely. I mean, you even in your sales process, tell ChatGPT, this is where we're at. We do this, this, and this. How do we document our sales process so that to the benefit of the customer for so they have a better understanding of what we do to help them through the construction process after it's sold. So use it as a communication tool. So.
Yep, it's a tool. And that's why I'm like the pilots, because even robots are going to be tools, right? And somebody still has to drive the bus and think creatively in how you're going to use the tool,
Absolutely. I mean, you said pilot. My first reaction was autonomous planes. That's being tested
Yeah.
right now.
Mhm.
Scary, but being tested.
I know. I know. Well, I'd love to just learn more about the podcast and what you're up to. You want to just kind of tell the audience a little bit more about what you're up to there?
Sure. So on the Trades podcast, we try to interview home improvement contractors, whether you're a deck builder, electrician, a plumber, because that's the industry I know. There's unions and bridge builders and high-rise builders and things like that. But the home improvement industry, I've had a really good exposure, and I feel like I can talk to people on a one-on-one level in that area. So that's really our forte, is doing that. We also like to bring in different types of educators or other people that have the same goal of us as promoting the construction trades in different ways. So there's some great nonprofits out there that we've been able to talk to that are making huge impacts in the construction world of creating opportunities and awareness for young adults getting into the construction trade. So we're going to continue to do that. The podcast itself, you can find us on almost any platform. We use a hosting platform that pushes it to 20 plus platforms out there. We also have a website that you can go to, thetradespodcast.com, for finding any episode and listening to it that way. And we're starting to grow our social media presence. I could use some really good coaching from you on that, I'm sure, April. But we're learning. That's part of the process of being a business owner. You have to learn the different steps as you go. I feel very blessed that I'm at the point in my life where I can go to the International Builder Show in Las Vegas, or got to go to Florida for that. Spend a whole day up in the fairgrounds for the Plumbing Expo a while back. There's a Fence and Automation Expo coming up in Vegas in September. I'm signed up for that. That's kind of a new area for me, but I've put in a few fence posts in my life. So
Yeah.
it'll
Nice.
be interesting to see the equipment and some of the resources that fencing builders are using out there.
Yeah.
We'll continue to go out there and interview and highlight different companies and what they're doing out there. I'm not the innovator anymore. I'm the documenter. This
Yeah,
is what
you're
other
the right. The documenter, the matchmaker.
people. Yeah. And we have a YouTube channel that that's probably one of our next big ventures, is putting a lot of the content out there on different aspects that we've been able to collect. We just haven't posted it very much yet.
Yeah, I bet you have so much content you could repurpose everywhere.
100%.
Well, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for any newcomers in the scene?
Absolutely. Be open to learning, because if you're young and you're getting into the construction trades, you need to learn your craft. Whatever you're going to do next, if your goal is to be a business owner or you're a new business owner, that's a whole different set of skills and rules to play by. You have to learn that. Take the time to get educated, and there's lots of resources out there in this country to do that. But it's a whole different set of skills. Those are more important. But don't forget where you came from. The people that treated you good, the people that helped you along the way. So what we talked about earlier is get to the point in the life where you can give back. You can do that your first day in business, by just treating people with respect and being gracious and have an open mind and open heart to be able to learn and grow from other people's experiences. Nobody knows it all.
That's right. That's right. Well, my motto is always, keep moving forward. And that means don't overthink it. Just keep moving forward and you'll learn along the way and you'll grow and get better and better and better. But you got to move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Done is better than perfect.
Yes. It's been a lot of years of training for me.
Yeah,
Still a work in progress. Well,
absolutely.
if if anybody is interested in being on your podcast, how would they approach that?
Well, my email address is info@thetradespodcast.com. I respond to emails all the time. And my cell phone, if you want to call me directly, 619-850-0887. Leave a message if I don't answer.
Pretty cool, man. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I think we had a lot of juicy nuggets and tips that are really going to help our listeners. And I do think that you and I should probably get together and we should do a webinar or something that goes into more detail about recruitment and culture and that type of stuff. So for anybody listening, you could always ping me directly on any social media and provide your feedback on the podcast and what you would like to see, and how people like Jeff and myself can help you in your journey. And again, Jeff, really good to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Until next time, guys, keep moving forward.
Hey, deck building community. Enjoyed the show? Hit subscribe and give us your thoughts. We love hearing from you. Ready to level up your business? Visit deckbuildermarketers.com. Check out our services and let's build your success together. Don't forget to download our free guides. They're a game changer. Thanks for tuning in to We Love Deck Builders, and see you on the next episode.